Joining us exclusively from Tucson this morning is Jared Loughner's former girlfriend, Kelsey Hawkes. Kelsey, good morning.
Good morning.
Give us an idea. When you and Jared dated, and this was a few years ago, what was he like at that point? It seems everybody paints a very different picture from the Jared Loughner who's emerging right now in the media.
Yeah, 6 years ago we dated, and back then he was completely different of a person. Very caring, very sweet, a gentle, kind, a little bit quiet, but altogether a pretty great guy.
You also spent some time with his family. Give us an idea, what was his home life like? What are his parents like?
From my experience with them, they were actually really great. His mom is a very sweet lady, very kind herself and thoughtful, and his dad, was always very kind to me as well. His parents have understandably not really been seen since this happened, though they did release a statement. There's an article in the Washington Post today which paints a picture of his dad as maybe a little bit more withdrawn, keeping to himself, somewhat standoffish. Did you ever see that? He may have been keeping to himself, but I mean, he had hobbies at home that he worked on. But I mean, besides that, I did interact with him, here and there when I would go over to their house. But I mean, never anything that drew me as unusual.
Did you ever see anything in Jared that gave you pause? Did he ever have any sort of violent tendencies?
Absolutely not. No. The Jared that I used to know is completely changed from what the world sees him now as. I would never have ever expected him to become what he has.
You ended the relationship. You just kind of wanted to be single. Understandable when you're in high school. And then you didn't have much interaction with him afterwards, but you did hear bits and pieces about him from friends over the last few years. What did you hear?
I don't know if I can say exactly things that I've heard, but just from recalling in general, it was never any good news. I seem to get the impression that he was becoming a little more isolated. Some involvement in drugs and alcohol I'd heard hints of, but yeah, like I said, never anything good to hear about how he was doing. But I didn't try to get in contact with him after hearing anything, or neither did he with me. So.
When all this happened, as the details were trickling in on Saturday, the last detail, of course, being the name of the suspect, what did you think about when you heard that news?
It was probably one of the more surprising things I've ever heard in my life. I'd been at work that day, and I'd heard pieces of characteristic things about this person who had done all of this, and then finally when I had been given the name of who it was, everything just fell together, and I couldn't believe it, and it was very emotional. I was very upset that, I mean, the person that I used to know could become so changed and turn into something else, somebody I knew 6 years ago and haven't spoken to in 5 years. I can only imagine what's been going on with him.
It is a lot to deal with for anyone, and especially for the city of Tucson. Kelsey, thanks for taking the time to speak with us this morning.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you.